If somebody would have sat me down at 25 years old and showed me exactly what I'm about to show you, my life would look completely different. I ran the numbers on what it cost me to wait 20 years before I started to invest. And when I saw that final number, it literally made me sick. $1.45 million. That is what cost me for waiting so long before I started to invest. That's not money that I lost. That's not money that someone took from me. That's money that never had a chance to grow. So if you are in your 30s or 40s and you have not started to invest yet, let this be your wake-up sign, because the last thing that I would want is for you to be sitting where I'm sitting right now, feeling what I'm feeling. So I'm going to show you two scenarios, and both scenarios use $500 a month with an 8% annual average return. So scenario number one, you start investing $500 a month at the age of 25. With an 8% annual return, by the time you're 65, you now have $1.74 million. Now, scenario two, you are investing $500 a month, but you start at the age of 45. With an 8% annual return, by the time you are 65 years old, now you have accumulated $295,000. Do you see what just happened there? It's the same investment, the same annual return. The only difference is you started at 25 versus 45. Now, the gap between those years is $1.45 million. That's the difference between compound interest working 40 years and compound interest working 20 years. And here's the part that's really hard to admit as why I did not start sooner. When I was in my 30s, I actually had a financial planner, and he was investing money for me. He was investing in the S&P 500. I also had a SEP IRA at the time, as well as a Roth IRA. The issue is I didn't ask the right questions, and I didn't ask questions at all. I just trusted someone to manage my money for me. And then what happened was 2020 hit. I lost a lot of my revenue that was coming in, and I needed that money. And so I pulled that money out, and I never started to invest again until the age of 44. That was my biggest mistake, was not trying to find a way to start investing again. So the issue wasn't that I didn't have access. The issue was I didn't ask the right questions, and nobody really took the time to show me the importance of why it's important to start earlier than later on. And so when I finally ran the numbers on what that decision cost me, it actually hit different, because the $1.45 million is not money that I lost. You can't miss something that you never had, but it definitely is money that I never gave the chance to grow. Because when you start investing at the age of 25, your money now has 40 years to grow. And so every dollar you invest at 25 years old becomes roughly $21 by the time you hit 65 years old with that 8% return. But when you start at 45 years old, now you're only giving yourself 20 years for that money to compound. So every dollar invested at 45 becomes roughly $5 by the time you're 65 with that 8% return. See, it's the same dollar, it's just a completely different outcome because of the time. So that's why people say time in the market is what matters. It beats everything. It's not like this cute quote that people say, it's really the math. So the question becomes, what do you do when you realize that you're late? Well, for starters, I'm not sitting here with regret. I created a plan, and I'm really implementing my plan every single month. I'm going to go ahead and tag the video of my plan above. And so my plan is this. I have 3 buckets, and 3 buckets I'm investing with Vanguard VTI, which is a total stock market index fund. Now let's look at my Roth IRA. So I'm planning to max it out every single year at $7,500. By the time I hit 50, I get a catch-up contribution, and I can contribute up to $8,600 per year. Okay. So my SEP IRA, it is for my self-employment income. Now, I made a plan that I'm just going to start off with $12,000 per year inside my SEP IRA. The reason for this, you can watch the video, I explain it in depth. And then my brokerage account, this is unlimited contribution, but I'm going to be putting in $500 per month, which is about $6,000 per year. That's a minimum. That's not to say that I'm going to stop there, but this is my plan. Now, if I stay consistent for the next 20 years with an 8% return, now I'm looking to grow all 3 of those accounts to about $1.284 million. And if I use the 4% rule, that portfolio is going to generate about $51,360 per year. But once I add Social Security on top of that, which is around $23,640, now you're looking at about $75,000 in retirement income that I'm going to have. So that is my goal. That is my plan. And now that I have a clear goal, I'm no longer sitting here stressed. So here's why this works even when you start later at 45. And I want to preface that the way I am funding all three of these accounts is through my multiple income streams. I have around 6 to 7 income streams. Being an entrepreneur really helps me fast track. So if you work a 9 to 5, I want you to keep in mind that it's very important if you want to do a plan like this, that you have multiple income streams to help you fund your buckets. So out of my $1.284 million, the great thing about this is I only contribute $526,500 of my own money. So the other $757,500, that's just pure growth. That is compound interest built more than what I actually put in at the age of 45. Now, I am using the 8% average return, which is very conservative because historical average in the US stock market is closer to 10%. So the reason why I'm doing this is because if my returns come in higher, then I end up with even more, right? And if it's lower, then I have planned for that. That's why I set a higher $75,000 in retirement income for myself, just in case those returns are a little bit lower. So the key is that I have 20 years in the market, and that's still a long time for compound interest to actually do its job. And here's what really matters, because if I was just doing the $295,000, right? If I was just doing that, right, and doing nothing differently, then I would end up with that. However, I actually created a plan and now I can end up with $1.284 million. And that's the difference between actually hoping and actually sitting down, running the numbers for yourself and coming up with a plan, because I believe that my plan now excites me rather than just like hoping and wishing that things are going to turn out differently. So I'm going to start closing this video with this. If you are in your 20s and 30s, you have one thing that I do not have, and that is time. So do not waste it. Start today if you have the opportunity to do so. Open up your Roth IRA. You can even start with as little as $50 a month. Do not overthink it. It doesn't matter how much money you are starting out with. The point is that you're getting started and you're giving yourself enough time for that money to compound. Please open it up. If you are in your 40s like me and you are just now getting started, it is not too late, but you must have a plan. You must have a plan and you must have multiple income streams. I'm going to be real with you. There are many comments in yesterday's video talking about, well, this is not realistic. Yeah, it's not realistic when you have a 9 to 5. That's why you got to watch the full video, because I explain it, right, in the full video. You need to have multiple income streams. You need to be able to have money that's taking care of your livelihood and your lifestyle, paying all your bills, and your other streams attacking your 2 or 3 buckets and just pouring money in every single month. I'm fast tracking because my goal is I set my bare minimum, which is my plan that I shared yesterday and the plan that I shared with you today, but I know I'm going to go above and beyond, especially when it comes to my brokerage account. So you want to make sure that you have access to cash flow to fund your buckets. That's the way that you fast track. It's not going to work with just one paycheck. It's just not. The plan, though, for you, if you're over the age of 40, is to get started now, today. And I also want you to go to ssa.gov. I want you to check your Social Security. I want you to see, on average, the estimate of how much you will be making when you are at the age of 65 or 67. That's important because when you actually run the numbers and start to create your own plan, you want to account for that money as well. All right? Stop trusting people with your money without knowing why, where, and how they're investing it. That was one of my biggest mistakes. You do not need a financial planner to help you do this, to get started. Maybe if you start accumulating a lot of wealth, it is a great idea to have expert advice. But what I'm saying to you right now is you do not need someone to show you how to open up a Roth IRA. You can do that on your own. You do not need someone to show you how to purchase an ETF, right? Index funds. You can do that on your own. Watch a YouTube video, Google it, do your research. These are things that are easy that you can do on your own, and you do not have to cut into the money that you're earning by paying someone else to do this. You can learn this. Trust me, I've learned it over the past several months. It's easy. All right, at least to get started. And I want to say this, I can't go back 25 years. I can't go back to unpull the money that I pulled out in 2020. I can't get back those 20 years of compound interest. But what I can do is create a plan and get started on it now and make sure every month I'm doing something to help myself reach my goal. And that's exactly what I've been doing. If you are starting over right now, I want to tell you that you have not missed your window, but you must get started because now you have 20 years. We all know the best time to start was 20 years ago, but the second best time to start is today. What I want you to do is I want you to comment the word income if you want access to my free guide that's going to show you how you can build multiple income streams. I will actually give you some ideas on how you can benefit from having multiple income streams to help you fund these accounts. Or you can go to my description and the link is there and you can download it. If you are new to my channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Dupe Alaru and this was your Daily Dose with Dupe. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I would encourage you to subscribe because I'm going to be documenting my journey probably for the next 20 years to show you exactly how I'm going from where I'm at today, which is essentially not zero, but it's small, to $1.284 million. And so if you are on that same journey and that same path where you want to build and you want to be on that fast track, join me. Hop on this train. We're going to do this together. All right, y'all. Until next time, I want to wish each and every one of you a beautiful and blessed day.